Hello everyone, welcome to MJ Central, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the Michael Jackson State versus HBO arbitrations and what we know so far. So without further ado, here we go. That's right everybody, today we're going to be going over the Michael Jackson Estate versus HBO arbitrations, because you know everybody, we already knew a little bit before, now we have some new information about it now, and so we're just going to be tackling everything we know and what can we look forward to as things go on. But first everybody, let's talk about what we know right now, and then we'll get on to new updates. So what do we know right now? Well, we definitely know that the Michael Jackson State is pursuing arbitrations against HBO. This has been mentioned in multiple interviews from John Branca, but right now I'm going to be showing you a little clip, clip of just me speaking, from not really an article, this is from the Michael Jackson Estate, and this might have been, I could be wrong, but this might have been one of the first times the state has mentioned arbitrations and legal action against HBO. Now you might be wondering, what is this about? What is these arbitrations about? Well, this is about the Michael Jackson State's legal actions to HBO for the documentary Leaving Neverland that came out in 2019, where Wade and James made some very false claims about Michael Jackson. So because Michael Jackson not here to defend himself, and there can't be a trial or anything about this, the Michael Jackson State is going through arbitrations. Everybody, it is also worth noting that HBO had an agreement with Michael Jackson that they will not release anything that will be damaging to Michael Jackson's reputation. And of course, they did the complete opposite with that when it comes to Leaving Neverland, which is, with this break of agreement is obviously a big motive for the Michael Jackson's estate arbitration with HBO. So here is the statement about this on Michael Jackson's website.
Alright everybody, so we're on the Michael Jackson website under the Michael Jackson Estate FAQ section for frequently asked questions, and with a question that says, why hasn't the estate made a documentary proclaiming Michael's innocence, which their reply was, the estate has taken legal action for which it has a legal basis with this request for public arbitrations in its dispute with HBO. The purpose of this is to expose those involved under penalty of perjury for the liars that they are. Beyond that, the fans can't and won't ever know what the estate has done behind the scenes. The estate doesn't always want to be publicly acknowledged or credited for what it does. All that matters is that the estate supports the dissemination of accurate information about Michael. So that is something that is said one of the first times it really mentions the arbitrations.
Alright, so right now we know that the Michael Jackson estate is not happy with HBO for what they did, and they are taking legal action, even though they will not be saying everything they've done or everything that they will be doing to take action for injustice to Michael Jackson. This is definitely one thing that they are doing. So now let's talk about who is involved. Okay, so who is involved? Well, it is the Michael Jackson estate, probably John Branca and other lawyers for Michael Jackson State, HBO and their lawyers, definitely going to be Wade Robson, James Safechuck, and Dan Reed. So they will definitely be in the arbitrations because this is about their documentary. So now, what else or who else do we know is part of this? Well, recently, a couple months ago, Tom Mesereau, who was Michael Jackson's defense lawyer in his 2005 trial, has said that the Michael Jackson State has asked him for help and has, reached out to Mr. Mesereau about this, and he has agreed. So he is now part of the defense team, which is definitely really good. We had a man who defended Michael throughout his trial, helped him get acquitted. So this is great news to now have Tom Mesereau back on Michael Jackson's defense team. So now, who else do we know that will be helping the defense? Well, we have Scott Ross. Now, I made a video about Scott Ross a little bit ago. You can check out that video. It's a breakdown from an interview he did with DJ Vlad. I think that's his name, or Vlad TV. It's an interview which he did, in which Vlad brought up about these arbitrations and the actions from the Michael Jackson State to HBO, and he asked if Scott Ross will be participating. But Scott Ross said he has been asked, and he will be participating, but he couldn't say any more now. Now, Scott Ross is obviously the private investigator for the 2005 Michael Jackson trial, and where he dug up, some stuff about the Arvisos. So now this is great news having Scott Ross and Tom Mesereau, two people who worked on the Michael Jackson 2005 trial, where of course Wade testified. Scott Ross is actually the person, if I do believe, who interviewed Wade, because Scott Ross said in that interview that if Wade, was lying then he had to get through all these people. Mesereau, Scott Ross, right? So you have Tom Mesereau and Scott Ross who are very familiar with Michael Jackson cases and with Wade Robson. So this is obviously great news for the defense team. It's going to be great, and it makes them a lot stronger. Now everybody, for the most part, that was all we knew. We didn't know if it was on, if it had already started, when it will start. We had nothing, because Michael Jackson, the estate, they really wanted public arbitrations, but of course HBO was pushing more for private arbitrations, which if you had nothing to hide, why couldn't you just do it public, first of all? But we do have some more information now, and the answer is no, it did not start yet. Now, I'm going to show you guys a picture, but I have it written down for me. So we do have an arbitrator now who has been chosen by both sides, and with this arbitrator, they will decide if this arbitration will go forward or not, and he'll also decide if it will become public or private. But now the only bad thing is that it will not be starting until January 6th, 2023. So that is a long time from now. So let's review that right now. Yes, it will take a long time until January 6th, 2023. Obviously, we're still in 2021, so that's still a long way to go. But it is really good that now we have an arbitrator who will be working on this case and other great things. I'm going to grab this again. And other great things. Now, let's learn more about this arbitrator. Well, his name is Honorable Terry B. Friedman. Hope I said that right, Terry B. Friedman. Now, he is a retired judge from the LA Supreme Court, and he loves working with the best lawyers and challenging cases. Now, you're definitely working with some of the best lawyers, with Tom Mesereau, one of the, greatest defense lawyers for sure. And it also said, loves working challenging cases. Now, there's no more challenging case than this one, if you really think about it. A whole case being brought on against somebody who has passed away and is not here to defend himself. So everybody, that is for the most part all of the updates and all that we know about it right now. So let's do a big recap. So we have an arbitration against the Michael Jackson estate versus HBO based on Leaving Neverland, which was a documentary that was released in 2019. Now for the defense side, we have Tom Mesereau and Scott Ross helping, who both helped out during the 2005 Michael Jackson trial. And of course now we have the arbitrator, which will be Terry B. Friedman. So this is obviously great news. I know I mentioned this earlier, but now Wade and James, but mostly Wade, because James, even though James said he had so much involvement in the 2005 trial, he had none, because the judge, if I can't remember the judge's name correctly from the 2005 trial, I know I just had it, but now I can't remember it for whatever reason. But, he said that James had nothing to do with the case. He wasn't going to be used as a witness or anything. Where Wade was obviously the first defense witness in the Michael Jackson trial. So now he's going to have to go up against Mesereau and completely change the story, saying how, he was lying then, telling the truth now. And I believe he's going to crack under. But one of the things I'm really hoping about this arbitration is that it will be public. Michael Jackson's trial was not public, where today we've had many court cases where they've allowed cameras. In the Michael Jackson trial, that was not the case. So what would happen was the prosecution would go after that, while they were doing cross-examination, the media would be outside telling what's happening and completely ignoring cross-examination. A notable thing from the trial, is when they were saying that Michael Jackson showed the boy nude, I don't know what it's called, like Playboy magazines, girly magazines. And, they went outside, oh, Michael Jackson showing the boy porn magazines. Sorry about this language, by the way, and the nature of this. But it's for a good point. And, they're outside saying all about this, about the magazine, where inside Tom Mesereau, destroyed him by saying that book, that apparently Michael Jackson showed him was only issued 6 months after 6 months after Gavin had left Neverland. So that just shows how the media is definitely not truthful. And it would have been a lot easier if there was cameras allowed in the courtroom so people on TV could really see what was going on and not just the prosecution side and just completely forget the defense side. That's not fair. So I really hope it's public so that everybody can see what is going on, what is being said, so that they're not just making HBO look like they're completely dominating the case. Then when the Michael Jackson estate wins it, they're like, oh, how did this happen? Because it's not celebrity justice. With Michael Jackson, it's 100% celebrity injustice. Me personally, I'm very excited for this. We know Tom Mesereau from his interview with Vlad that he is feeling very, very confident. And we know what happened last time. He was very, very confident with the Michael Jackson case. And, 12 years after his passing, or by the time the arbitration starts, it'll be about 14 years after his passing, around there. And who knows, maybe by the time it ends, 15 years after his passing, he'll finally get the vindication he deserves. He doesn't need 2 vindications. He already had one in 2005, but apparently that wasn't enough, and he needs another one. I have great faith. I always have great faith in the justice system. But I have great faith that the Michael Jackson estate will win this arbitrations. With recently James's case being thrown out because his lawyer didn't even file appeal. Even though when it got dismissed, he told TMZ, oh, we will be right back. We will be right back with an appeal. And then he didn't even file one. Now, of course, most recently with Wade Robson, having to reimburse the Michael Jackson estate $75,000. So Michael Jackson's estate are having, great luck right now with the court. Rightfully so, because like I always say, and as you guys know, the truth always prevails. So this is great news. And it's really good that the arbitration, is getting on track now. And can't wait for Michael Jackson to be vindicated once again. And hopefully for the last time. And now everybody can appreciate the music and let him rest in peace. And now Wade and James, during these arbitrations are going to have to answer to the contradictions. Most famous ones, of course, are the Train Station by James Safechuck, saying, some abuse happened at the train station when it wasn't even built yet. And of course, for Wade Robson, one of the most famous ones, most notable ones, is the Grand Canyon, where he said that his family was at the Grand Canyon and he was with Michael when some of the stuff happened, but his own mother said that Wade went with him to the Grand Canyon, so he wasn't even with Michael while this happened. You also had James saying that Michael did it at the Grammys when he wasn't even at the Grammys that year, and all this stuff. So now they're going to have to finally answer that. They have said nothing, okay? They just shied away from the answer, whatever. Dan has spoken a little bit about it, saying it's not about the places, about the years that was misunderstanding, whatever. They just can't keep their stories right. Sorry if that's clear. But they just can't keep their stories right, and it's about time that they finally have to answer. And I hope, I think one of the best things would happen if they just say, okay, we lied, or these are people who have said that they won't take lie detector tests. They've refused to take lie detector tests. And I think they should just own up now and say, okay, we lied. Because now, Wade's going to be $75,000 in debt. And the same might happen to James. So, I hope they just own up and say, okay, we lied. And, just own up to it. Like, you bit off more than you can chew. But it's finally about time we get justice for Michael Jackson. Alright everybody, that is it for this video, and let me know in the comments below, what do you think about the arbitrations? Personally, I'm very excited for Michael Jackson to finally get the justice that he deserves after all these years and all these lies when he's not here to defend himself. It's very, very sad, but I'm really hoping for the best. Like, subscribe, and hit that notification button so you won't miss out on any new videos. You can check me out on my main channel, Jamal TV. You can also follow the TikTok account for MJ Central at MJ Central 1958. Alright, that's it for this video. I'll see y'all later. Peace.